what I'll do if I had to make $1,000 in the next 48 hours from scratch. What's up, guys? My name is Jamie, and in this video, as I say, I'm going to go through what I would do if I was starting from scratch. So no huge email list, no big audience, no funnels, no websites, no paid ads, nothing super complex, and I guess no product either. What would I do to get started? Now, the ironic thing is this is actually what I teach inside my programs, my Monetise Your Tribe program, where I show folks how to get paid in advance to build their assets such that you have market fit, as well as getting paid to build your assets and send those people to your high ticket offers. So it's not just what I would do if I was getting started, it's actually what I'm currently doing in my business and what I teach to my students as well. Now, if you and I haven't met before, real quick, my name is Jamie Gardiner. Got started in the online marketing space in 2011. I run this very non-fancy channel and hopefully helping you guys to simplify your conversion systems and scale your businesses accordingly. Right, all that being said, I'd love any support you can give me. Feel free to subscribe, hit the like, and don't be shy about dropping comments if there's anything that resonates for you during this presentation as well. So all that being said, let's dive in. So I'm starting from zero. Now, the challenge with that is, let's say I lost everything for whatever reason. No product, no funnel, no list, just 48 hours. Here's exactly what I do. Now, of course, it's going to take a little bit of a different mindset. So when you're starting from scratch, you've got to just hustle up. There's no other way of putting it. You can't just lean back and hope all the leads and everything come to you. You've got to be really on the front foot when it comes to getting this stuff sorted, right? So the timeline, we've only got 48 hours, and basically every minute counts when we're doing this stuff. Now, of course, I'm not going to go through the granular 48-hour thing. Of course, that would be a very long video and a really boring one at that. What I'm going to do is give you guys an overview of the strategy so that you can go and implement this yourself in your own business. Right. Number one, this might sound so glaringly obvious, and I'm not going to move my head because the other slides will reveal the rest of it. But you have to solve a major problem for people. Now, it doesn't need to be like the biggest problem in the world. You don't need to develop a brand new rocket to present to SpaceX or NASA or anything like that. It can be something that you're skilled at that solves for one specific problem. Now, for example, you might solve for content creation. You might work out how to batch 30 days worth of content in 1 hour. And maybe that is a skill that someone else in your audience might need assistance with. They might not know how to do that. Maybe you've got some sort of prompt that you use to do something that is not on the market, that no one else is doing. And even if other people are doing it, maybe you've got your own spin on things. And so basically all we need to do is figure out what people are searching for, what their pains and frustrations are. Now, the way that you might go about this is a few ways. So really simply, you can actually ask your audience. Now, I have made one little caveat with this video, and the caveat is that you do have a very small audience. Now, let's assume that a small audience could be as little as, say, 40 to 100 people. Some of my students have actually surpassed $10,000 in revenue with cash collected with having less than 100 people in their audience. So it certainly can be done. Also had others that had between 40 and 50 people in their audience and have made over $4,000 accordingly, right? So it can certainly be done, although obviously you do have a larger audience, it's going to be a little bit easier, but for the sake of this video, let's make the assumption you do have some form of audience. Now, here's the cool thing. You don't need to guess what people want. You actually just, like judo, you're using the momentum of your own audience to sell into what their pains and struggles are. Now, the way that you do this, a couple of ways. Number one is you can ask them quite simply, hey, think about doing this. Would you be interested? Hey, what are you struggling with online? Now, not many people are going to come forward when you say these types of things, but you start to get a sense if you just DM a few people, hey, haven't seen you around for a while. How's things, blah, blah, blah. What are you working on business-wise at the moment? What's the number one thing that I can help you with? What would you like to learn? Now, when you're framing it with that approach and you're framing it from this place of what would you like to learn? What's the number one thing I can assist you with? Then people will naturally identify a current pain point for you, right? So all you need to do is take that data, start to figure out if there's a commonality between some of the answers that you're getting, and bang, all of a sudden you've got something that you can potentially figure out a way to solve for folks, all right? Nice and easy. Now you can do this really quickly. It'll take 10, 15 DMs, not even that. Another way you can do it is just have a look. If you're the shy type, you don't want to DM people, go and have a look at some of the online groups that you've got and the ones that you're actively in yourself, whether it be on school or Facebook, and just have a look. What type of comments are people leaving? What type of questions are people asking? Try and read between the lines. See what people are really trying to identify with, right? So one of the most common ones that you'll find is where do you find the high ticket buyer leads? And of course, the assumption is that there's this magic pot of gold over the rainbow that houses all these amazing leads. And of course, that's just not the case. But there's a story for another time. But maybe, just maybe, you have this thing that you do that brings in leads every single day, and so it doesn't involve having to cold DM people or cold email or hire a setter or a closer or anything like that. Maybe you've got this really simple system that you put up one piece of content and it just brings in leads like clockwork, right? So now you've got something moving. Another one that you can do is go onto the likes of Quora, go onto the likes of Reddit. What type of questions are they asking over there? Have a look at that stuff, right? This is all really, really good market research. And the more time you spend on this, the easier it is to be able to sell into that, right? So don't skip this part in particular. Now, what you want to do is you want to validate it really quickly, okay? So this is the last part of this section. You want to validate it quickly. And because we've only got 48 hours, remember, we have to be moving pretty damn quick when it comes to this stuff, right? So what you would do is basically go and put out a really, really simple post, and I'll show you guys in the next slide. So what we want to do is we want to structure a what we call a power promise or power offer. This is from Joel Irway, so credit to him. Go check him out. But effectively, it is a way for us to frame our opportunity to our audience. Now that we know exactly who we solve for and what we solve, we need to just put that in front of folks to see if we get people that are metaphorically raising their hand, interested in what it is that we have, right? So it needs to have a clear outcome, a fast result, and no fluff. And here's the framework that we use. If I could show you how to achieve X, Y, Z in compressed time without biggest obstacle or frustration, would you want it? Would you take me up on the offer, et cetera, right? You can tweak that last part a little bit. Now, let's go back to the leads example. Really, really simple. If you have this fandangled, crazy way that you get inbound leads all the time through one tiny piece of content, that's actually really simple, right? If I could show you how to get 5 to 10 daily inbound leads without here's a way, I guess, in a day, in the next 90 minutes without, or that takes 90 minutes per week without having to cold DM people, having to beg your friends and family, or having to set up complex processes to do so, would you take me up on the offer? Would you be interested? Whatever it is, right? Now, imagine how appealing that is for someone who is struggling with lead generation. All of a sudden they're seeing your post and they're like, damn, that sounds pretty damn good. That would be, that would be quite interesting. I am interested, right? So they're not saying they're definitely going to buy at this point. They're saying, yep, that sounds like a problem that I would like to get solved. Nothing more, right? These are our warm audience and they have expressed an interest, nothing more. We can't promise that they're going to buy anything. We don't know that, but at least we've got something moving at this point. And so we want to ideally focus on the value and the transformation that offers, right? So if I can show someone how to create leads in 90 minutes a week, and they get 10 to 15 or 5 to 10 leads every single day, bang, and they're not getting leads at the moment. That is a very, very powerful thing, right? So it emphasizes the outcome that they're going to get, right, rather than the actual mechanism itself, right? And that applies to any offer that you're putting out there. You've got to always try and focus on the outcome, specifically more so than the mechanism to get there as well, right? So if we had the outcome, which was, hey, I can get you to 10K per month, but the mechanism is, you got to DM 1,000 people and you got to hop on sales calls for 20 hours straight every single day. And you get no one's going to do that, right? So it has to be the outcome first and the mechanism second. Hopefully this is making sense. Right, moving on. We need to create a sense of urgency. So what we want to do is we want to leverage the things that we have at our disposal that are basically echoing very simple economics. Economics 101, supply and demand, right? We can, as marketers, create this. So if we have something that is in hot demand, so we now know, okay, we've got the specialized skill that will help people to generate leads for their business, right? That's this amazing thing that we're doing. And we're like, cool, we've got the knowledge and we've got this thing over here that's really cool. Now, all of a sudden, we have created a demand, right? So we've actually created it. And then all we need to do is cap off the supply, which then creates more urgency about getting it. Hopefully this is making sense, right? This is really, really simple stuff. Now, the simple ways that you can do both of those is reduce the amount of availability for your opportunity right? Now, depending on your audience, you might figure out a different different cost for this whatever it is that you're looking to sell, right? So it could be 50 or $100, whatever it is. But you can say, for example, say, hey, I've only got 10 spots available for this thing, which is why I'm charging out $100 for it. So bang, sell 10 of those, you make $1,000, right? So that's one way. You can also go on the other side. Depending on the size of your audience, you can go, cool, well, I've got 5 spots left and it's $27 to get it. Who wants it, right? So we've got the power of that. Now you can also have other things which creates urgency, such as having a specific set deadline. If you have a specific set deadline for people to take action on it, then they're going to push towards that deadline, right? So there's a natural urgency for them to get it. And you've got to do it, right? As marketers, you have to do it because people, like, if they see something, they're like, you're like, hey, I've got this really cool offer, you should get into it. Like, oh, yeah, that kind of sounds good. Now, there's also other ways that you can do that by highlighting the cost of an action. There's another way that you can create a sense of urgency. I personally just think it's way easier just to go, you know what, you can access it, you can get it between now and now, right? Now and now. And once the deadline is hit, bang, you can't access it anymore. So therefore, people know, and especially if you're marketing to that, then people will jump in, basically. Keep it really simple. You don't really need to go too grandiose with this. Don't use complex language. It's a mistake that I've made very, very commonly in my marketing historically because of just like words and stuff, and sometimes I've just made it way more complex than it needs to be. So the idea is to simplify everything down and keep communication very, very simple, but make it regular. Make it very, very regular throughout this 48-hour period. So effectively what we want to do is we want to hunt down our warm audience, okay? And so really, really simple. We go through and we think, okay, we've got 40 to 100 people in our audience. We've developed a bit of a relationship before. We've lost everything else. So, bang, everything's kaput. But we do have some form of audience out there, okay? Now, what that means is that we can go and approach those folks. We can send them a quick DM. Hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you around for a while. What's happening in your world? What are you up to these days? Cool. Hey, by the way, I just wanted to send a quick invite. I've got this thing that I'm doing, XYZ. This is what it's solving for. Would it make sense for you to check this out? Would it be a completely stupid idea for you to check this thing out, right? Those are 2 little frames that you can use. And all you need, quite literally, is you need 5 to 10 people. You say, hey, I'm capping out the numbers. I thought of you before I take to the broader market. Is this worth checking out, right? So there's another way that you can do it. And again, because you've got that warm approach, at least you're like putting the offer right in front of someone, okay? And now this doesn't have to take all that long as well. You can literally send out 5 or 10 DMs in the next 20 minutes without fail, right? It was really, really simple. So then what do? We got to think about your delivery methods, okay? So if we have gone through this process and we have developed, this process and we've got it in front of folks, we now know that, okay, we want to sell, say, 5 or 10 spots of this thing, and our price point is, let's say, hypothetically, it's like $27. Nice and simple. In fact, the very first time I did this approach was actually for a $27 product, and I ended up having my first $30,000 month off the back of it, and this is the process that I used as well. So what I did was I pre-sold it, okay, and then I delivered the workshop, and then I upsold people to my back-end offers after that, okay? So that's how that transpired. And so what we want to do is pretty much the same thing. We've now gone and taken our Stripe link. Like, don't overthink this. You don't need anything fancy, or your PayPal link, whatever it is, right? You go and put this in front of folks, and we've got to think the metrics. So if we're selling 10 spots at $27, and I'll explain how the rest of the $1,000 is going to come about, then what we want to do is think, okay, well, we need to get it in, say, the hands of 30 people in order to then sell those 10 spots, okay? Just roughly. And that means you've got roughly about a 33% conversion rate on those. Now, that's obviously very, very high, but this is a warmish audience. So we have, like I say, the caveat is we have had some interaction with this audience, and therefore they are warm per se. Now, I guarantee if you went all through your socials right now, through your email list, through your current social media, through all of your ones that you're most active on, so your Instagram, your Snapchat, whatever you crazy kids are on these days, you'd have upwards of 100, if not more, probably 1,000 without fail, right? And so therefore, don't tell me that you don't have a fucking audience, right? That's the thing. People do have an audience. And so therefore, like I'm saying, is if you are having a warm audience, and so you've had some sort of interaction with them, they know you, they know, like, and trust you, then it's going to be a lot easier, right? So it means that the conversion rate actually goes up significantly because of that warmth of your brand character within your audience, right? So keep that in mind. That's why the conversion rates are usually a lot higher. Now, if you want to go even harder with that, then get it in front of 50 people, get it in front of 100 people if you have to, right? And then you start to play around with the numbers. All of a sudden, it looks a little bit different. If you to get it in front of 100 people over the course of the first 24 hours, and then you're delivering on the next, 36 or whatever, right? Then now all of a sudden you're probably going to be able to sell maybe 10, 15, 20 spots. Who knows, right? You never know. Now, of course, I understand this is all hypothetical. I completely get that, right? But I'm hoping to deliver something that gets you guys to think of, okay, well, this could actually work. It's crazy enough to work. To pre-sell something, knowing that I have a piece of information that can help people out, and I can just research and I can just find out what people are looking for, and I can sell into what they're wanting, right? Pretty clever stuff. And a lot of the brands that I'm I guess, in association with, that's what they do. They will send a survey to their audience. They will find out what the information is that people are looking for, and then they will create a product that looks to solve that issue for them. Right, let's move on. So what we want to do is we want to have a simple delivery method. So think about like literally a 90-minute paid workshop. You can even do something as simple as a Loom recording of something that you do in your business that helps people out. You can even have as something as simple as a Google Doc or even a fancy little presentation like this if you want to go that crazy. That's it. Don't overthink this stuff, right? I think a lot of the time, and this is again a mistake that I've made historically, is that I thought it had to be like, I don't know, I thought it had to be like solving Pythagoras. I thought like, okay, I'm going to go and put absolutely everything I possibly can into this tiny little program, that's going to charge out at $5-10, whatever it is. And the problem that I face, and something that I realized after the fact, is I was over delivering the value massively. Like some of the stuff I was putting in my low ticket programs realistically should have been reserved for my high ticket offers, because that was the level of knowledge that people were getting. But then the problem was that people would get bogged down. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, now you've got all this information. And so therefore you should have momentum, because if you're like me, I'm self-motivated. I don't really need accountability and stuff like that. But I didn't realize a lot of people, they get, oh, okay, yeah, I should probably get back to that training and all that type of stuff. And so therefore I started to learn, okay, the less is better. Less is better. The less things people need to think on, the less things people need to focus on, the less things they need to do, the better your products will be. Okay? This is from experience. So focus on clarity. Make it super simple for them to follow. What are they going to get at the outcome? Emphasize the wins along the way. So highlight the positive outcomes that they will get, that maybe your own clients have achieved from, I guess, implementing this, and if not, then your own results from going through this process as well. And then provide action steps. Like you got to get people in momentum with these low ticket things, right? Like it's not about like, hey, here's a bunch of information, good luck. You got to get them actually in motion, doing the thing that is working, right? If you can get them in momentum, it's more likely that they are going to continue in momentum. It's like Newton's law, right? What gets in motion stays in motion, more or less, right? So the idea behind that is that makes it easier to ascend people to your high ticket offers without sales calls, okay? So get them in momentum. That's basically the crux of it. Now, from there, what we want to start to think of is, okay, we've now got some buyers. Now, some crazy little stats. Go do your homework on these. There's a research survey from Adobe originally saying that a buyer is 9 times more likely to buy from you in future again. Okay, 9 times more likely. It is also 60 to 70% easier to convert an existing buyer into either other high ticket products or cross sell into other things that are going to serve them than it is to try and convince a cold prospect to jump on board. Okay, 60 to 70% more likely. Think about that. Crazy stuff, right? So your goal as a marketer, in my opinion, should just be to build as many buyers as you possibly can and really start that relationship. Because once you do and you're able to give them a positive buying experience, it is so much easier to say, hey, I've also got this other workshop over here. Oh, by the way, I've got some high ticket stuff happening over here. If you want to come and jump into my container with me, I'm doing this other consulting thing. Any interest in that? Okay, whatever, right? And so therefore, from this, now it's going to be easier for us to ascend people to our high ticket offers, right? So start to think about that. Okay, do you have a high ticket offer, a one-on-one even, that you want to roll out? Because now you've got qualified buyers. Those are already know, like, and trust you, especially if you've hopped on a workshop and you spent 90 minutes in front of these folks, they have consumed 90 minutes of you. They know the way that you talk, they know the way you sound, your jokes, like everything, right? Meaning that they're more ingrained into that world. They also, if they actually bother to implement, they have some momentum, they're more likely to want to continue as well. So really, really simple, without treating the whole thing like a big chunky webinar. You're actually delivering a ton of value up front. What you're looking to do is then convert those buyers by offering a next step. Like, hey, by the way, if you're interested, no pressure if not, but I am taking 2 people on board to blah, 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 blah. And again, guess what I just did? I'm using urgency and scarcity more specifically, and basically just saying, look, here's what I've got on offer. The opportunity to go jump into this is going to close on this time. Let me know if you're interested. Okay, bang, nice and easy. Okay, right? Yeah, and that's it. I would basically be looking to get paid before I build a single thing. Okay, so and then this is the crux of where I'm going. Now, of course, 48 hours, it may not happen in 48 hours. Maybe it takes 72, maybe it takes 96, maybe it takes an entire week. The point being is that you can get this up and running and you can do it in a very, very rapid space of time by purely following these steps. Now, a couple of little resources to help you out along the way. Number one is I do have a paid workshop. It's 90 minutes. It's going to take you through this exact same process in more depth with the scripts and the guides and the done for you funnel that you can swipe and plug into your business straight away and start making sales in the next 48 hours. It's a whopping $7, right? Whopping $7. Go grab it. I'll leave a link somewhere below. Now, if you're not quite sure about that yet, and perhaps you don't want to fork out the $7, then there is also a free guide. I will leave that below. It's 8-page PDF showing you the exact process, as well as scripts and guides and templates, all that type of stuff to get this up and running as soon as you possibly can, as well as turning it evergreen. So anyway, hopefully you guys got some value out of this. I know this has been like really, really high level, 30,000 foot view of what to do. Go and run with this. Go give it a shot. You got nothing to lose, right? Go put an offer out in front of someone and see if it works. All right, guys, my name's Jamie. Really appreciate you tuning in, and feel free to hit the comments and let me know your thoughts. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.